All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Rines Report here on Radio Free Radford.com. We're back today for a full hour. Before we get started, make sure to check out the Rines Report here on Facebook. If you're watching it here on live, thank you very much. We always go live during the shows, or we at least try to. Follow me on Twitter at Tristan Rines. Also, be sure to like Radio Free Radford on Facebook and follow them on Twitter at Radio Free Raddy. Also, feel free to give them a follow on Instagram at Radio Free Radford. This is our last show of the semester. Hoping to come back next semester. I'm really excited. Looking forward for the break. It's been a very long semester. Finals week right around the corner. We have lots to cover today. Kareem Hunt. You know, of course, if you've been living under a rock, of course, just to give some updates on that. What's going on with him? Mike McCarthy fired by the Green Bay Packers. Kelvin Benjamin cut by Buffalo and signed by Kansas City. The Panthers' playoff hopes. The Rines Report Hot 10 NFL teams, fantasy guys to watch, and of course, we have picks. Okay, let's see here. Did I update them? I want to say I did. Yeah, okay. Cool. All right. So we're going to start off with the Kansas City Chiefs and Kareem Hunt. Now, like I said, unless you've been living under a rock, especially if you're a big sports fan, you know about the Kareem Hunt incident or incidents that have been coming out on these in the last few days. And he's been placed on the commissioner's exempt list after a TMZ video dropped of him kicking and pushing a woman outside of his hotel residence in Ohio, in his hometown, I presume. And he's been released and cleared waivers from the Kansas City Chiefs. He was released. The team came out with a statement saying that he lied to the team, that he was dishonest about the incident earlier in the season, and obviously there's a whole lot to this situation. By the way, if you have any questions or have any comments, feel free to throw them right in there into the group chat here on the Rines Report Facebook page. Now, released as he should have been, and since the first bombshell dropped, there have been some other videos, I believe, coming out, or pictures of him involved in several other incidents, I believe. I'm not going to pretend like I know everything about all those situations. I'm not going to pretend like I know everything about what's going on with him exactly, but I can do some speculation. Honestly, it's stupid. He's dumb for putting himself in these kind of positions. He's dumb for reacting the way he reacted for a whole number of reasons, man. We saw this with Ray Rice years and years ago when Ray Rice, in case you're not familiar with the incident involving the former running back for the Baltimore Ravens, he assaulted his, at the time, fiance, now his wife, in a elevator, just rocked her or something, and the Ravens cut him, obviously, and no team ever signed Ray Rice ever again. But this Kareem Hunt thing, man, it just isn't good. This is, of course, never acceptable. He should be smarter than that. He should never have been in that kind of position. Speculation-wise, I mean, there was an interview that came out, I believe, Jacina Anderson with ESPN interviewed Kareem Hunt at his home. It's about a 5-minute interview. You can probably find it on YouTube if you want to do some digging. It's not really that hard to find, honestly. But just if you want to take some time out of your day to go check it out, there's an interview with him talking to ESPN, talking about the incident, but not giving a whole lot of details. All he really said in the interview was, I understood that what I did wrong. I was not raised this way. I'm not a bad person. You know, the kind of rigmarole the kind of jargon, the speech that we always see from the guys in these positions. Nothing that Kareem Hunt did on any level was acceptable. Not the way he handled it, not the way that he decided to put his hands on someone. And putting your hands on a woman, of all things, of course. And it's just not acceptable, man. I don't understand what was going on. In the video, appears that the woman in question it seemed maybe like she was kind of harassing him. I don't know exactly what led up to this. Off the top of my head, I want to say, if I'm speculating on what happened, he was probably out doing something. This girl recognizes him, like, hey, that's Kareem Hunt from the Chiefs, or something of that nature, recognizes him for some reason. I mean, he's not like an unpopular person at the time, and starts harassing the guy. Maybe trying to do this or this, like, hey, I'm going to talk to Kareem Hunt, blah, blah, like, we're going to do this and this, whatever. And he's just not having it, and she starts harassing him even further or whatever. But at that point, you just got to be, if you're Kareem Hunt, you just got to walk away, man. Just don't dive into it. Don't, humor this person. They're obviously, being hostile towards you and giving back into it. Or maybe he could have started it for all we know. We have no idea. I don't think we have any real idea of what exactly happened, what transpired between these two individuals prior to the video. It's just a shot outside of his residence in a hotel. That's weird. It's just a shot from a hotel camera outside of his room where he and this girl were going back and forth. They were just yelling and whatever. There's no audio to it. But he's trying to be held back by multiple people, breaks off of these people because, dude, he's an NFL running back, and pushes her. And while she's down, kicks her. And then proceeds to just leave the situation. Now, at what point, I'm just curious, at what point did Kareem Hunt think any of those actions were the acceptable route to go with? At any point, what was he thinking, man? It's a stupid thing to do. Like, there's no entitlement to playing this game, especially after you do something stupid like that. There is never a time where that is an acceptable, there's no acceptable reason why he should have done that. He does not deserve to just be right back into the league. We saw a lot of backlash recently, of course, with Reuben Foster, like I said last week on the show, how the Redskins picked him up, cleared him off waivers, and he's being accused of domestic violence allegations currently. Kareem Hunt is as a football player, super talented, led the league in rushing his rookie season, was having a really monstrous year this season, but no matter how talented he is, do you sign him? Like, realistically, would you sign him? Would you go out of your way to go sign this guy who's been proven to assault someone, essentially? He's an idiot, man. It's just a stupid thing that he did. He needs to realize, obviously, he realizes now he's not untouchable. No matter what your status is, no one is untouchable. You know what I'm trying to get at? Like, it's stupid. If he ever wants to get back in the league, if anybody ever wants to sign him, the league needs to come down hard. And, if they got to make an example of somebody. We have Ray Rice. We've had a number of other players involved in things of this nature, unfortunately. The NFL needs to crack down on this. There's no reason why he should have an easy pass getting back into the league, essentially. He's on the commissioner's exempt list. Basically, I don't know if he's collecting checks anymore or what the deal is, but it's just dumb, man. It's really dumb. And as a mature adult, you need to realize sometimes that, hey, the best thing you can do is just walk away from a situation, and Kareem Hunt decided not to do that. On multiple occasions, apparently. Or at least that's what allegedly is out there, is that he's just had a really tough time walking away from situations that he had no business being in the first place. So, those are my 2 cents on that issue. Especially with all this ridicule around the Redskins, signing Reuben Foster, former Alabama player, 49er player. No one's going to touch Kareem Hunt currently. And it's going to be some time, man. What's sad is how dumb it is, man. He's making great money. He's young, presumable long career ahead of him where he can start making a lot more money. And you're getting into altercations with people, man. If there's anything else I could say about this situation is that life comes at you fast. And sometimes you bring it upon yourself. So here, we got a number of other topics to cover today. I wanted to cover that first because at this point, I wouldn't really say it's old news because we're still talking about it, obviously, but it needs to be mentioned. So we're going to hit 20 seconds real quick. I'm going to have a sip of water, and then we'll be right back.
Your new favorite station. You like it, I love it. You like it, I love it. This is your man, Flo Rida. All the hits. The New River Valley's hit station. RFR. Radio Free Radford.
Once again, thank you to everybody listening in on RadioFreeRadford.com. for the last show of the semester. Very happy to be in the studio. Very happy to, be in the position I'm in, ready to get the semester over with. Thank you very much for tuning in today, especially if you're watching here on Facebook live stream. And be sure to check us out on Facebook, The Rines Report, RINES, and check out some previous live streams. Check out this current one. As soon as the show finishes, it'll be up and posted. All of my shows are also posted on YouTube. When you search Tristan Blake Rines, we could be going through some cosmetic differences here soon as far as the social media and the state of the show, which I'll touch on a little bit later. But just want to let you guys know that I really appreciate all the support and everybody listening and watching, taking time out of their day to listen to my voice, listen to me talk about things that I really, really enjoy, which is this great sport of NFL football and all the drama that surrounds it. So Mike McCarthy is the next thing on the docket today. Now, this situation, in my opinion, it's just so disrespectful to Mike McCarthy, man. It's very disrespectful. The Packers firing Mike McCarthy on Aaron Rodgers' birthday, I'm pretty sure, it's just disrespectful in my opinion. After so much speculation of a fractured relationship he had with Aaron Rodgers and the rest of the roster, the Packers locker room is gonzo, man. They're no longer enthusiastic about playing for Mike McCarthy. After 12 years of coaching the Packers, a Super Bowl winning head coach, offensive-minded guy. I mean, look, he and Aaron Rodgers never seemed to click. That's the speculation I've heard. I saw some Bleacher Report stuff saying that he was trying to. Rodgers basically changed 90% of Mike McCarthy's calls for the entire season. It's just a shame for Mike McCarthy, man. I think he's going to keep coaching in some capacity in the NFL level. I think he has the potential to keep coaching. But there are a couple of ways to look at this, is that Mike McCarthy might not have been using Aaron Rodgers to the fullest of Aaron Rodgers' abilities. Aaron Rodgers is a super talented quarterback. He helped carry this team to a Super Bowl championship, less than 10 years ago. And now they're currently 4-7-1. The Packers are more... Things would have to fall perfectly in place for the Packers to make the playoffs, but there is no reason why a 4-7-1 team needs to be in the playoffs. All right, I'm just going to say that right now. There's no reason that this team needs to be in the playoffs. They could win out the rest of the season. They'd be 8-7-1. Does that sound like an adequate playoff team to you? I hate when 7-9 football teams make it to the playoffs. Let me just put that out there. I hate it when 7-9 football teams make it to the playoffs because they won the division, and then they get a better spot in the playoffs over someone who was better than them. Like if you're 7-9 and you make the playoffs out of the AFC South, for instance. Let's say the Jaguars, went 7-9, won the division, and then they had to play the Chargers in the first round, right? That's dumb to have it played in Jacksonville because Jacksonville doesn't deserve it. You know what I'm trying to get at? But back to the subject of the matter, Mike McCarthy, he and Aaron Rodgers, like I said, never really seemed to click. Former head coach of the Miami Dolphins and the offensive coordinator currently for the team, Joe Philbin, is going to assume the head coach position for the remainder of the season. Like I said, man, it's disrespectful. That's all it really is. Dude won you a Super Bowl, and you couldn't just wait until at least the offseason, man. Why couldn't they just wait until the offseason is what I'm trying to understand. Why do they have to do it in the middle of the season? Like, I understand the season's this is no longer a winnable season. You're not making Super Bowl runs with this team. At least not in my eyes, you're not. Let's see. So you got some candidates maybe we can touch on a little bit later. Thanks for the likes, Dustin. I appreciate it. I'm just not a big fan of this move by the Packers, and it's mostly out of, I understand at the end of the day everything's a business decision in the NFL, but look, there's only a few games left in the season, man. You can hold on. Respect this man. Some guys have earned your respect. Mike McCarthy is, in a way, a legend in Green Bay, man. He helped win a Super Bowl with them. Along with Charles Woodson, Clay Matthews, Aaron Rodgers, these guys helped bring you a championship. B.J. Raji, respect to B.J. Raji, man. Boston College, great player. He left the game on his own terms, by the way. If you've never seen the Flemlo Raps video, check out that on B.J. Raji if you were ever curious as to what happened to him. But I just find it disrespectful, man. This man helps win you a Super Bowl, and you're going to just leave him out to dry like that. I don't know. Imagine you worked for a company, and that was all right for a little while. Like coming off of a great amount of leadership, right? Like with Brett Favre, so to speak, and all the coaching around that. And then you take over during some low periods, through some transitional periods, let's say, and then you help take this whatever organization it is, whatever company it is, whatever store, business, whatever it is, you help make them a viable and sustainable business and end up having the best business in your best organization in your clique, so to speak. And then, a few years later, your employees just start turning on you for whatever reason, and you just get fired before finishing a job. You know what I mean? Like, you get halfway through the job, like 3/4 of the way through the job, and then they're like, oh, we don't want you anymore. We're good. Thanks. Appreciate all the effort in the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? All the great business you brought us. And they just fire you. It's disrespectful. Like, it's your project. You felt build up. At least you got to commit to the idea of finishing it. You know what I mean? That's just my opinion on it. There are some possible candidates. I've heard Lincoln Riley, Oklahoma University head coach, possibly in the mix. He's been in the mix conversationally around the talking heads with ESPN and FS1 and all those other ones. He's been in the conversation for a number of head coaching positions, as well as guys like Josh McDaniels coming out of New England once again, possibly. Almost the Colts head coach last year. Obviously a messy situation with that. If you haven't heard about that, I'm pretty sure we covered it even still. But he left the Colts head coaching position at like the last moment to stay in New England and become the offensive coordinator. And I'm pretty sold on the idea that he's just staying because he realizes whenever Bill decides to retire that this is his team. So I wouldn't necessarily say Josh McDaniels is going anywhere. There's always speculation he's going somewhere. He's a great offensive mind. We've seen that he knows how to work the offense and that he can be really effective. Do I think someone's really like Green Bay's going to take a chance on him? Maybe, because they want to get some more Super Bowls. They want an offensive-minded guy who's going to be able to take advantage of the weapons around Rodgers, put them to work, and do it well. I could see McDaniels very well in Green Bay, Lincoln Riley in Green Bay. I could see, I want to say Bruce Arians said he wasn't interested in the Packers job, but who knows? I mean, imagine Bruce Arians, who's a quarterback guy his entire career, everywhere. I mean, he turned Carson Palmer from a mediocre like NFL quarterback. He was great in college, but he turned him from a mediocre NFL quarterback into a great NFL quarterback for a couple seasons. Turned the Cardinals into a great organization, a Super Bowl contender at one point. He helped mentor Andrew Luck, Ben Roethlisberger, a few other quarterbacks as well. Bruce Arians ain't no slouch, man. So if I wouldn't be surprised if he ended up in Green Bay either. So just keep your eyes out for that. Although he has expressed interest in the Cleveland Browns coaching position. Now we're gonna hit about 10 seconds, and then we're gonna get into Kelvin Benjamin. The whole news surrounding him. I know it's not that big of a deal to most people, but we're going to talk about it anyway. So just stick around for about 10 seconds.
Hey everyone, this is Demi Lovato, and you're listening to today's Top Hits
Radio Free Radford.
Once again, thank you very much for listening to the show this week. This is the last show, once again, of the semester. I'm sad to go, but I'm going to try to keep you guys updated during the break, so make sure to like the Rines Report Facebook page. What's that hissing going on? Oh, sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. It's weird. All right. Let me check that. We're good. Okay, sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. A little bit of technical stuff going on. Make sure to like the Rines Report Facebook page, and I'll be trying to do some live updates here and there. Maybe give my predictions, my picks for the week. We got a long break ahead of us. I'll be playing a little bit of NCAA. I'll be home with some family. So if there's some big games going on, make sure to check us out on... Can I get that autograph? Yeah, you can get that autograph, Shiza. Yeah, I know. I got you that autograph. Don't worry, it'll be worth something one day. Let me see. But yeah, make sure to like us on Facebook. I'll be posting some updates, going live on Facebook. I'm going to try to do my picks live on Facebook at least every week, give a little recap and some thoughts, some Q&A. So feel free to do some Q&A with me, even during the shows. I like to answer questions. I like to get some bouncing back and forth with people. So definitely hit up our live streams, send messages to the Ryan Support Facebook page. We could be undergoing some cosmetic differences. We could be. It really depends on what's going on next semester. So, but like I said, I was going to talk a little bit more about that later. Kelvin Benjamin, cut on a Monday, signed on a Thursday, if I'm not mistaken. Something like that. Yeah, he got cut like on Tuesday or Monday or something like that, and he got picked back up. After posting embarrassingly low numbers, Kelvin Benjamin, oh goodness, it's one of them days, right? Kelvin Benjamin was finally cut by the Buffalo Bills. On the season, 23 catches, 354 receiving yards, and a single touchdown. Now, I understand the quarterback issues in Buffalo this season are kind of all over the place. I wouldn't say Josh Allen's as bad as I thought he could have been. He's looking all right. He's got a strong arm. He looks like he could be really good with the proper development around him. But he's had some weight issues in Carolina, beef with Cam Newton this past offseason after getting traded to Buffalo last year. Where does he go from here? Well, we know where he went. He went to the Kansas City Chiefs, who were competing for a Super Bowl. He was a stud at FSU, won a national championship, and he has a ton of talent. He has the size, and he has the athletic ability, but he doesn't, in my opinion, seem to have a strong work ethic. When asked if he wanted to practice some routes for a game by quarterback Josh Allen, he said simply no. This is a guy who seems to be playing for checks, not for the love of the game. Minimum effort guy who is coasting on talent and flashes of his athleticism. And he signed a contract to finish out the season with the Chiefs. Sammy Watkins got hurt. He'll be out for about 4 to 6 weeks, if I'm not mistaken. It's like a foot injury or something of the sort. I think Kelvin Benjamin could be a good second option for them. I mean, Tyreek Hill is just so good. Giving Mahomes somebody to just pop the ball up to. I think maybe he'll find some enthusiasm for the game, Kelvin Benjamin will, playing in Kansas City in Andy Reid's innovative and interesting offense. They seem to have a really good idea of what to do this season. I'm just not too certain that Kelvin's committed, if that makes any sense. Like I said, I feel like he's the kind of guy who just plays for the check, man. There's not a lot of passion for the game. You know, he's out there to just get some money, and I understand it's a business at the end of the day, but I don't feel like he really gives it 100%. You know what I mean? Like, a little bit lazy on blocking maybe, or when he does flash his potential, it always seems to be like one big play here and there. I'm just not certain about Kelvin Benjamin. I think he's good, but I'm not in the conversation of saying he's great at all. He had a couple good seasons in Carolina. I mean, he had a little bit of injury issues, if I'm not mistaken, but I'm just not sold on this man. I don't have a really good impression of him. He could work out well at Kansas City if he has the right motivation, like I said. He could end up putting up, I wouldn't say as many catches, but he could probably put up just about as many yards and a couple more touchdowns in Kansas City than he would have in Buffalo. So we'll see how that situation works out. I'm just not really sold on the idea of Kelvin Benjamin being this great receiver we all thought he was going to be coming out of FSU, winning a national championship with Jameis Winston. You know, big size, big hands. It just doesn't feel like there's a lot of enthusiasm. And maybe it's because these aren't the proper environments to hold a guy like him in check. Maybe these aren't the kind of situations where he likes to be, but who knows? And speaking of Carolina, we're going to transition to the Panthers' playoff hopes. They are currently 6-6, heading into the NFC South, the latter part of that schedule. So hold on for about 10 seconds, and then we'll be right back and better than ever.
Hey everyone, this is Demi Lovato, and you're listening to today's top hits.
Radio Free Radford.
Final show of the semester. I keep saying it because it's true. I'm sad. I want to keep doing them. But this is the last show of the semester. Once again, thank you all for all the support. And if you're not listening to my show, there are plenty of other great shows going on. We could have some stuff next week, but officially there's no set schedule for shows next week. So if you are checking in, trying to figure out what's going on, what's the situation, well, the office in the studio would technically be closed. I would just make sure to check in with your provided host, your preferred host, and make sure that, hey, are you guys doing a show? If not, maybe I'll listen to something else, or I'll just listen to some of the great music here on RadioFreeRadford.com. We have some other great shows, including Dustin Staples' Weatherman, comes on every morning, 10 o'clock in the morning, to give a great weather update. And he said, especially to me, to let you guys, the wonderful people of the Rines Report family, know that he will be giving updates on RU Weather 1, his Twitter and Instagram, and I'm pretty sure Dustin Staples Weatherman on Facebook. He'll be giving updates on the weather. We have an incoming snowstorm projected for Sunday, a little bit through Monday, so just make sure to check on his stuff. He always does a great job, and he does a great forecasting. Some really interesting interviews. Check out his stuff as well. So the Panthers' playoff hopes. They looked so good earlier in this season. I don't know what is going on with Carolina currently. I have no earthly clue what is going on with that team. They're 6-6 currently in the NFC South. I want to say they're in second place, led by Cam Newton offensively. In the air, 69.5 completion percentage. Here we go, move that over a little bit. 69.5 completion percentage. Just a yard under 3,000 for passing, 24 passing touchdowns, 11 picks, and on the ground he has 450 yards and 4 rushing touchdowns. They're led by Christian McCaffrey coming out of the backfield, 863 rushing yards, 5 touchdowns on the ground, 80 receptions. We're 12 weeks into the season, right? 13 weeks into the season, technically, if you have bye weeks, yeah. He's got 80 catches, man. Christian McCaffrey's the real deal. 663 receiving yards and 6 touchdowns. So he should be pretty solid so far with the rookie combinations of Deontay Jackson on the defensive side, DJ Moore, a really strong receiving threat. He's looked really solid. You know what I mean? He's looking pretty good in the offense. He has his good weeks and bad weeks. It's rookie stuff. You know what I mean? Same thing with Deontay Jackson at LSU. Strangely, they're 6-6 though, and outside of the playoff picture, but just barely. They're close to a wild card spot behind Minnesota, who sit at 6-5-1, and Seattle at 7-5. Now the remaining schedule, they play Cleveland, they play New Orleans, Atlanta, and then New Orleans once again within 3 weeks. Now I don't want to get anybody's hopes up, and I don't want to pretend that the Panthers are unstoppable, because they're a good team. They've got some really good talent around them. In the organization, I would not say that. Let me make sure that light's good. I wouldn't say that Ron Rivera is a bad coach. I mean, they were a Super Bowl caliber team not too long ago. Let me try to get this settled up. It keeps bothering me with that light. Does it bother you guys in the background? I mean, yeah, it's really weird. Sorry about that. Let me get back to the show though. I keep doing this. They could finish 8-8. In my opinion, with the remaining schedule, I could see them winning against Cleveland, losing to New Orleans both times, and beating Atlanta. Finish about 8-8. They could make the playoffs, but they need some breaks to get in. Seattle have to lose a couple games. Of course, Minnesota have to lose a couple more games. I don't know if I'm very sold on the Panthers this season for playoffs, just because this year's been kind of wonky as far as middle of the pack teams. You obviously have your really good teams, your really bad teams, but everybody's sitting around the middle of the pack currently. With the playoff spot, it's kind of challenging because we have no true set idea of who's getting in, especially in the NFC. Let me look up the NFL playoff picture again. Been doing this a lot frequently. Let's take a quick second and look at that. Come on, load up. Let's see. In the hunt, the Titans are currently in the hunt in the AFC. The Dolphins, the Colts, the Broncos, the Bengals are still technically in the hunt. Anybody below 5 wins currently, though, I'm not assuming they're going to make the playoffs at all. Just like the NFC side, the Giants, the Falcons, the Lions, and the Packers are all 4-win teams right now, but I'm not going to assume they're going to make the playoffs. Carolina's battling with Philadelphia, Washington. If Philadelphia could beat Dallas on Sunday, they could be battling with Dallas, and Dallas looks like a strong enough team right now. Washington is still very much in the playoff picture, and Tampa Bay is also in the playoff picture. So Carolina's just sitting outside at the 7th seed. They need a couple breaks to happen, though. Let's see. Sorry about that. I just need to take a quick break. My just getting a little tight. So if I'm a Carolina Panthers fan, do I have hope? Sure, it's fine to have hope. It's always fine to have some hope. But I would not guarantee it. I wouldn't get the hopes up too high. You don't want to get disappointed if they, for some reason, miss out. Although Minnesota's been kind of weird this season, I would look for Minnesota to drop first before Seattle. I think Seattle, while personnel-wise, you would think Minnesota has a better team. Heck, I even thought they were going to win the division. They still, in a weird way, can. I wouldn't guarantee Minnesota's going to do it this year. I think it's I think it's Cousins' first season, trying to get adjusted to everything. It's a big change from moving from Washington. I'm pretty sure the offense is a little bit different. Not necessarily as catered. He has his flashes. He's all right, but we can get to talking about them a little bit over the break. We will all see how this rolls out and develops, and the playoffs will probably start between now and the spring semester. But make sure to check out the Ransport Facebook page, and we will give you the updates on the show for the next semester. All right, so we're going to move into the Hot 10 teams. Every week this changes, and every week we're going to talk about it. Whew. So we got about half an hour left in the show. We can make this work. Finals week coming up, man. Just tired. All right. Hot 10 teams. Number 1, the LA Rams. LA Rams. Now, with the Saints losing to Dallas a couple weeks ago, they're still really good. But the LA Rams, personnel-wise, are just so talented. Sean McVay knows what he's doing. They're always prepared. Gurley, Donald, Goff, all potential MVP candidates. The LA Rams are currently my favorite team to win the Super Bowl as of right now. The New Orleans Saints are number 2. Their defense is pretty strong. They held the Cowboys 13 points. Cowboys' offense isn't necessarily as impressive as a big-tier offense like the Rams or anything, but the defense is pretty good for the Saints. They got Sean Payton, of course, talking head coaching, and Drew Brees, MVP candidate. Dude's a beast. Number 3 are the New England Patriots. Convincing performance against a couple strong teams. They had a big win over Minnesota in New England. New England with their home field advantage, man. It's serious. Brady plus a running attack has been really strong for them this season. Getting Rex Burkhead back in the fold has definitely panned out very well for the Patriots. They just need to figure out how to play aggressive defense consistently. Getting to the quarterback worked out really well for them against Minnesota. So that's the biggest thing they need to do, really, in my opinion, is get to the quarterback. Number 4, the Kansas City Chiefs. Losing Kareem Hunt, signing Kelvin Benjamin puts you down a little bit. It's rude to Kelvin Benjamin and the Chiefs, but let's see. The offense is still strong. The defense is still garbage. So the Kansas City Chiefs are going to sit at 4 for me, but they're really explosive. They're really talented. The LA Chargers, my favorite team to watch sometimes. The LA Chargers, big win in Pittsburgh on Sunday Night Football. This could be the catalyst for their playoff push. This could be the catalyst for some kind of Super Bowl run for these Chargers. The offensive weapons are ridiculous. Keenan Allen's a beast. Mike Williams is definitely looking solid. Tyrell Williams is looking like a really good third option. Austin Eckler is a backup running back. Good pickup. Go pick him up in fantasy. Well, we're going to get to that in a little bit. And, of course, Melvin Gordon, as soon as he comes off of his sprain, I believe, he should be fine. They're going to be really good. Defensively, they got a bunch of talent. Derwin James, Joey Bosa, Ingram, Casey Hayward. They got teams. They have a lot of talent. Number 6, the Houston Texans, a hot streak walking into the division. Currently on like a 9-game win streak after losing the first 3 games of the season. It's something crazy. They're leading the division now. The Jaguars beat the Colts. So this is now the Houston Texans division to lose. The defense is great. The offense is explosive. Need I say less? Need I say more? This team looks good. Pittsburgh Steelers are sitting at 7. And they had a rough loss on Sunday Night Football, of course. They're lacking in consistency. They're lacking in overall, I guess competency. I mean, like, it feels like they're really good for a couple quarters, maybe like the first half, like we saw in the Sunday Night Football game, and then they just kind of lose it a little bit. They lose a little bit of that mojo. And then they're hurting without this rushing attack of James Conner. I'm pretty sure he's hurting. He got like a knee injury or something like that currently. Nothing crazy. It's going to keep him out for the rest of the season, but they're going to need him down the stretch. Chicago Bears. Chicago. Number 8. The defense, man. It's all defense. Number 1 rated defense in the game currently. Khalil Mack was a great pickup in the offseason. Definitely looking like it's worth the money, worth the pick. And they got a hard-fought offense, man. In a tough loss to the Giants, they showed creativity. They showed that even without Mitchell Trubisky, that they have the potential to still win some games. Number 9, the Dallas Cowboys. I know Terrence likes it. I don't like humoring him, but I know that he enjoys it. Terrence Schofield, another host on the Radio Free Radford site. The defense is strong, man. The offense needs to find consistency, though. The Dallas Cowboys are young. They're hungry. They could very well beat anybody in the NFL right now. I got them beating Philadelphia. I'm sorry about that. I got them beating Philadelphia. Defense is strong, man. I think that's how they're going to make their bread and butter. Like I said, though, the offense just needs to be a little more consistent. They need to get a little bit more creative, I suppose. And number 10, the Baltimore Ravens. The big issue currently is not that their defense is bad, because it ain't. It's strong. It's the quarterback situation and the turnover game. Lamar Jackson, Joe Flacco. Lamar Jackson's won his 3 games that he started, but he's turned the ball over a lot in those 3 games. Joe Flacco, veteran leadership, not a bad player, pretty okay. Pretty okay, I suppose. So it's really a matter of who do you think is going to give this team a little bit more edge? What's going to give them the best chance to win games? And even talking to Ravens fans, they're not necessarily confident in the ability of Joe Flacco, but it doesn't necessarily mean that he's not the best option that they have currently. Lamar Jackson looks like the future. I think eventually they're going to try to get that contract off the books for the Ravens, but you really just got to wait and see. So next up, we got fantasy guys to watch. We got some picks, and we still got 20 minutes left in the show, so stick around for the next 20 seconds. Going to play a quick Radio Free Radford ad, and then we'll be right back.
Your new favorite station. You like it, I love it. You like it, I love it. This is your man, Flo Rida. All the hits. The New River Valley's hit station. RFR. Radio Free Radford.
And we back. All right. So we got the fantasy guys to watch and the picks coming up, and then we have our closing of the show for the semester. I know it's all really sad, but once again, thank you guys so much for listening, supporting the show, supporting the channel. If you're listening, on YouTube, by the way, get the bell on. You know how that stuff goes nowadays, right? The internet. Yeah, you got it. Get the bell on. Give us a like. Give us a subscribe if you've never subscribed to the channel before. Let's see. Fantasy guys to watch, though. I got 3 players. All right, this is the way this works. I got 3 players. I got a start, flip a coin, and a sit of the week. Now, I revealed my sit of the week last night on the Rines Report Facebook page, and if you haven't liked us yet, give us a like, man. Give us a like. Give us some love. Appreciate it always. Do the same thing with our YouTube channel, the Tristan, Blake, Balake, and Rines, Rines. So, give us a like. Give us a subscribe. Get the bell on. But fantasy guys to watch this week. I got Austin Eckler as my start of the week. Running back for the Chargers. With Gordon out still, Rivers likes him a lot as a check down guy. He's strong. He can hold. He's really good at holding the ball, I suppose. Like, he doesn't fumble a lot, I don't think. Good pass catching back. Expect him to get maybe a touchdown or 2. They've got, who do they play this week? They got a little bit of a challenge in Cincinnati. But I think that if you're going to start anybody this week, take a chance. You know, you're trying to make the playoffs with your fantasy push, or you are currently in the playoffs and you might need that, that one secret weapon. Derrick Henry should have been that secret weapon for everybody this week, I guess, putting up the best fantasy performance of the season. But the Chargers, Austin Eckler does not seem like a bad player to pick up. If you haven't picked him up yet, if he's still available in your league, go take the chance on him. It'll be worth it. I called Philip Lindsay last week, so I don't know. Maybe I'll hot streak it. And I think he's a really solid option. So take a chance on Austin Eckler. If you're really desperate at that flex spot, go pick him up. Flip a coin. Flip a coin. Get that quarter route. Flip it up in your heads or tails. Let's see. I got Calvin Ridley, wide receiver for the Falcons. Let me see. I just want to make sure, but I want to say he could be playing this week. Calvin Ridley. Hand and elbow injuries. Let's see. Yeah, he is on track to play this weekend according to Fantasy Pros. So I'd flip a coin on him just because I don't know how many snaps he's going to get. But we've seen how explosive he is in the offense for Atlanta, and he seems to be a touchdown machine. So if he is going to be playing this week, he could be a game-time decision, but I'd flip a coin on him. If you have some other better options at wide receiver for your team, pick them up, start them up. But you might need a flex guy, maybe your running backs, or just up against some really tough opponents this week. I'd start Calvin Ridley maybe at your flex spot. If you just really need some good wide receivers, maybe go out there and trade him to go get him or something. We'll see. And my sit of the week was Marcus Mariota. Now, let's see how his numbers reflect. Mariota stats. Let's see how his numbers looked. Yeah, I'm pretty happy that I said that because he didn't necessarily have he didn't have a great game at all. He didn't even break 175 passing yards. It was a very Derrick Henry type of game. Run the rock a lot, run it downhill, and just hope it works out, and it did. Derrick Henry had like 4 touchdowns and 238 yards last night. He was a beast. Putting up like 47 points in my league, something like that. He's good. Marcus Mariota, though, I'm pretty happy to say he was the sit of the week this week. He had 162 passing yards and an interception. He wasn't going to get anybody a lot of anything. So I hope you didn't start Marcus Mariota, but if you're liking the Facebook page, you would have known not to start him. So those were our picks those were our fantasy guys to watch for the week. And now, for the final segment before we close out the show, I'm going to explain my picks for the week, and hopefully it works out really well. So, picks. Last night, though, I did make a bad choice, but last week, I went 10-6. So, my first pick, though, Thursday Night Football, I picked Jacksonville to take it 13-10. I was obviously wrong, but that's okay. I like my divisions to be a little more competitive. So, congratulations to the Titans winning on Thursday night. Whew, it's one of them weeks, ladies and gents. All right. Get a nice stretch. All right, Carolina at Cleveland. We'll kick off our Sunday night, or not Sunday night, our Sunday midday games, 1 o'clock games. Carolina at Cleveland. This will be a pretty solid game. I'm looking Nick Chubb heavy on this game, so more than likely he'll probably get in to the end zone. He's been doing that a lot lately. If you are trying to squeeze into the playoffs or something like that in your league, go out and try to get a trade for him. I like Carolina in this game, but just barely. I think Carolina takes it by 4 points. It's just Cleveland, for some reason, can't pull together a last-minute drive. But I would not be surprised if Cleveland takes that final drive and goes on the field. Baker Mayfield looks really explosive, a candidate for Rookie of the Year, behind Saquon Barkley, who, in my opinion, is running away with it. Let's see. I think this is going to be a pretty solid game overall. Worth the watch, I guess. Especially with playoff implications for the Panthers. So if you're a big Panthers fan, this is a big game for you guys. Let's see. Baltimore at Kansas City. Man, I'm going to make my bold prediction. I'm going to make a bold prediction for the week this week. Baltimore is going to beat Kansas City. And it's going to be close, but Baltimore with a really strong defense, really creative and innovative defense, some pretty solid offensive play. I'm going to take the Baltimore Ravens to upset the Kansas City Chiefs in Kansas City 28-23. Now, I'm not saying that the Chiefs are not going to win this game have no chance. I'm just saying this is the upset pick. Kansas City is a tough task for any team currently, and especially in Kansas City, it's going to be an even tougher task. But Baltimore is going to find a way to do it. They've got some veteran leadership out there. They can exploit that defense and how bad it is, and at the same time, also get past that offensive line that's been a little leaky here and there for the Chiefs. So check that game out. Could be the upset of the week. Indianapolis in Houston. I'm going to take Houston in this one, 30-17. I don't think Indianapolis is going to let Houston just walk away with this game. I think that Houston's just going to, they're on this really big hot streak. It started against Indianapolis. Now it's in Houston. I think Houston, Deshaun Watson's going to have a really solid game. DeAndre Hopkins, Demaryius Thomas, there's just too many weapons on the offensive side of the ball. The offensive line, as long as it doesn't completely collapse, which could be the only thing that could sink the Texans, they're probably going to win this game, no problem. New England at Miami. New England at Miami. I'm going to take New England 34-20, mostly because New England's on a really good hot streak right now. A couple wins back-to-back. They're not taking things for granted. I know Miami is where New England typically gets a little bit of hiccups. But I'm going to take New England 34-20. I think it's going to be kind of close first quarter, and then it's going to just devolve into a New England-controlled game. A couple of bad drives by the defensive side of the ball, but New England 34-20. All right. The New York Giants of the Washington Redskins. I'm going to take the Giants 31-14. Saquon Barkley is going to have a big game against Washington. I don't know how much heart Washington currently has, losing both of their starting quarterbacks this season, Colt McCoy and Alex Smith. Also, best of wishes to Alex Smith, by the way, knowing he's dealing with an injury. Still coming out of that surgery. I heard that it became infected of some sort. So, just, best of wishes to Alex Smith. Let's see. Oh, thanks for tuning in today, Dan Cooper. Appreciate it. Let's see. But I'm going to take the Giants. I think it's going to be a big win for the Giants. They're going to take it mostly Saquon Barkley. I could see Odell Beckham having a pretty solid game. But I think it's mostly because Washington might just... They're trying to make that playoff push, but they might not have as much heart, especially with the recent events going on. Mark Sanchez is also leading the team. I just don't have enough enthusiasm for Mark Sanchez. I can't take it seriously. New Orleans and Tampa Bay at Tampa Bay. I'm going to take the New Orleans Saints in a landslide victory, 35-6. It's not going to be close. New Orleans is going to come out and basically jet. They're going to fly. They're going to just put up numbers, man. So if you got any New Orleans Saints on your team, start them this week. Atlanta at Green Bay. I don't have any more confidence in Green Bay. I know Atlanta's kind of banged up and not really making a playoff push this year, but I'm going to take Atlanta. Just Julio Jones doing Julio Jones things. Dude's a freak athlete, man. Ridiculously talented. I'm going to take Atlanta 27-21 over Green Bay. In Green Bay, the season is lost on the Packers, man. It's just over. If you're a Packers fan, sorry. I'm calling it now. It's over. But if they make the playoffs, feel free to call me wrong. Let's see. The Jets at Buffalo. It's really just going to be a competition of who's a better first-round quarterback. I'm going to take the Jets 24-21 over the Bills. And the Bills just botched their victory once again like they did against Miami last week. Not necessarily going to be the best of days for the Buffalo Bills, but couldn't really get any worse. Let's see. Cincinnati at the LA Chargers. Cincinnati at the LA Chargers. With this game, it just comes down to pure talent. I think the Chargers are so much more talented currently than the Bengals. They've got a lot more heart. They're trying to make this big playoff push. I can definitely see Cincinnati trying their best to try to keep things close early, but it's not going to be close this entire game. I'm going to take Keenan Allen, Phillip Rivers, big combination for the day. It's going to be a pretty landslide victory for the Chargers. Denver at San Francisco. Denver now has lost Emmanuel Sanders. They traded away Demaryius Thomas early in the season. Cortland Sutton looks like a really good young player, but I don't really have confidence currently with the receiving options now. I think Phillip Lindsay's great and all, but I think San Francisco and Nick Mullins at home are going to take it by a touchdown, 28-21 in overtime. You know what? No, wait. That'd be 27-21. 27-21 in overtime. Nick Mullins, MVP of the game. Philadelphia at Dallas. I think I said this earlier. I got Dallas winning this game, 20-17. The defense for Dallas is really, really young and talented. Philadelphia, just not a whole lot of consistency this season. Former Super Bowl champions, obviously. Congratulations to them. But there's not a lot of consistency there. Pittsburgh at Oakland. I wouldn't bet against Pittsburgh in this one. Away, they play defense. They don't really play as strong a defensive game as Pittsburgh, but I think Big Ben's having a really good stretch of games right now. It's going to be a lot of Antonio Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster. Big passing day for the Steelers. Oakland's just not going to be able to stop it. Detroit at Arizona to round out the 4 o'clock window is going to be not a terribly interesting game. I mean, if you really, really like Josh Rosen, maybe you'll probably like this game. So I'm going to take 23-17 Arizona. Sunday Night Football. The LA Rams at Chicago. One of the best offenses in football going against the best defense in football. To me, this comes down to offense for the Bears. Is it going to be consistent? Is it going to be sustainable? I'd say no. So I'm going to take the LA Rams 31-24. Sunday Night Football. Be a good game, though. Minnesota at Seattle for Monday Night Football is going to be another good game. I'm going to take Seattle 31-27 over Minnesota. Monday Night Football, the lights are in Seattle. It's going to be loud. It's going to be rowdy. They're making the playoff push. I'm going to take Seattle. They're just a little bit more consistent. I think this is the way that Carolina slips back into the window, as if Minnesota loses. Woo! All right, ladies and gentlemen. I know we still got a little less than 10 minutes remaining in the show, but I wanted to say thank you all so much for listening this semester. Be sure to follow the Rines Report on Facebook. Follow Radio Free Radford on Facebook. On Twitter, follow Radio Free Radford at Radio Free Raddy, and Instagram at Radio Free Radford. Have a wonderful and safe winter holiday, ladies and gentlemen. Have an amazing finals week to all of you students. And be on the lookout for some updates on the show heading into next semester. Like us here on Facebook if you're watching live. I appreciate all of the listenership, all the views, all the love and support from everybody. It has been an absolute pleasure this semester to be here in the studio for all of you guys. For all the people listening out in Radio Land on RadioFreeRadford.com, thank you so much for all the support, for all the listenership. And be sure to if you're just doing this for me, give me a Merry Christmas. Give me a subscribe on YouTube when you search Tristan Blake Rines, Tristan Blakerines. It's been an absolute pleasure, ladies and gentlemen, and adios.